the Shute podcast.
It is really hard to do the Whole30, but one of the things you talk about in the book is, finding your why, like why you want to do this, and then just kind of using that as your motivation.
Yeah, we always talk about finding your why. Because we're not a weight loss program, we want people to really think about the way that the Whole30 is going to impact not only their life, but also their relationships, their parenting, their work, their self-confidence, their, gym and other hobbies and activities. So we talk about and we provide exercises to find your why. What are you hoping the Whole30 is going to achieve? If you're going into the Whole30 hoping to reduce your cravings, why? Why is that important? Well, it would be really important so I didn't feel like I was preoccupied with food all the time. So when I was in social situations, I could actually enjoy the social connection more and not be so anxious around what am I eating? What are other people eating? Am I eating too much? So that I could sit down and watch a movie with my spouse and not worry that I'm going to be constantly thinking about, like, what could I eat? And should I eat something? And is it too late to eat? That food noise would quiet. And if you take it a step further, well, what would that mean for you? Like, I would feel more at peace. I would feel more grounded. I would have more self-confidence. I would feel more connected to the people that I'm with. And when you go get that deep in terms of your why, it then becomes very easy on the Whole30 because it is hard when you're faced with that moment of temptation of somebody saying, oh, would you like a glass of wine? And you're like, oh, I'm on day 14, to say, no, thank you. Because this idea of feeling peaceful and grounded and no longer anxious around food is far more important to me than the momentary flash of pleasure I might get with that first sip of wine.
Yeah. And that kind of goes back to your other book, the book of boundaries and setting boundaries with food. And because that is one of the biggest things I feel like, especially for guys, like, like if you're hanging around other guys and everybody's drinking beers and stuff, and you're like, oh, you're not either because you're on the Whole30 or maybe you just want to cut out alcohol or whatever, you're trying to be healthier. It's hard to be the one guy that's not eating junk food and drinking beer.
It definitely can be. And I think it tends to be, especially when people are faced with peer pressure. So if all of your guy friends are giving you a really hard time for not drinking or saying you're no fun or, oh, just have one, that can be really, really hard. But even in the absence of peer pressure, I think we feel uncomfortable not doing the thing that everyone else is doing. And I like to look at the Whole30 as an opportunity to sort of flex those boundary muscles. Walk into a birthday party and say no thank you to the cake because you can celebrate just as much and feel just as festive no matter what happens to be on your plate. Go to the wedding and toast with your sparkling water instead of champagne. It's just as meaningful. Go out with your girlfriends like I did one year at St. Patrick's Day and not drink beer. I was like, no, I'm just going to have water. I'm not drinking right now. And I had just as much fun. And I left a little bit early before everyone else got really drunk and annoying. And I got myself to bed early and I woke up feeling great the next day. And I was like, this is awesome.
Yeah.
So I think if you have some of those positive experiences, it really boosts your self-confidence. And then whether you choose to drink or choose not to drink, you feel like, okay, like either way, I know I'm going to have a great time.
No, that's a great example because, like, I think of that too. Like, it's sometimes it's fun to just go early if you're not drinking and just hang out with people until
Yeah.
before they get really wasted. And then it makes me think too, like, if I have to drink a lot to have fun, then what am I doing? Like, this isn't fun sober, then why am I doing it? So I have to have the alcohol to enjoy this activity. Well, I mean, I could just have alcohol at my house and
Yeah.
have the same effect. I mean, it kind of makes you think about how you're spending your time. If that's, you need this alcohol, if it's not fun to hang out with these people unless you're drunk, then maybe you need new friends or
I
new
know.
situations.
I know. That's a good piece of tough love right there. One of the things I like the most about my girlfriends now is that, 10 years ago, the invitations would be like, let's go out and have drinks. Let's go out and have, a glass of wine on the patio. And now I'm getting phone calls and it's like, hey, let's go to like the 8 a.m. yoga class and then go to brunch. That's what we want to do now. We want to do activities. We want to go for a hike. We want to go for yoga. So it's great if you can, if you have friends that like to drink, but also like doing other things, maybe you just join them in those other things because nights out at the bar are not fun for you anymore. Or like you said, maybe you go, but you say, yeah, I can only stay for like 2 hours or until you guys get drunkety because that's not fun for me. And then you leave. I think there are a lot of different ways to slice and dice it that don't have to involve getting new friends. But if the only things your friends like to do is go out and get really, really drunk and that's just not serving you, then yeah, I think you'd be better off finding new friends.
Yeah. I always just like, because I'm in Scottsdale and like, I'm like a mile and a half from all these clubs. And like those, sometimes they're kind of fun. Like during the day, they'll play sports or whatever. And they're kind of, the music's kind of low, but after like 9 or 10, it's just like this loud EDM. And I
Yeah.
feel like nobody is really enjoying this, like, unless they're on drugs or alcohol. Like, I just feel like nobody really likes the music this much. I mean, maybe they do. Maybe I'm the weirdo that's just like, this looks like hell to me. I don't,
Yeah. I'll leave
I
that
don't
to,
know.
like, the kids. I'll leave that to the Gen Z. I'm in
Yeah.
bed by, like, 9 or 9:30 these days. That's my idea of a good time.
Yeah. But it's like, it's really, because that's what the Whole30 is all about, is like, it's really not only just changing your diet, it's just like changing your whole lifestyle and leading a healthy lifestyle and then feeling better. I think exercise, I mean, it's not really mentioned in the book, but that can be a big part of it, a good supplement to this whole thing.
Oh, absolutely. The Whole30 is only about food in that that is all we talk about. That's what you eliminate and reintroduce. There's no exercise component, there's no sleep component, there's no meditation or journaling or anything. But what I find is that people start to feel so good by the second week. Their energy is rocking, they're sleeping great, their cravings are down, they feel so self-confident. Maybe their bloating is gone and their aches and pains are less. And it very naturally leads them to say, what else could I do? I hear people all the time who say, I'm walking more, I'm going to the gym more often, or I hit a PR in the gym. I'm doing better in my intramural soccer games. And that just leads to, all of these things are sort of a self-fulfilling prophecy where it spills over into every other area of your life. You're more confident at work and more outgoing and maybe more social, and you're spending more time with your family. Maybe you're meal prepping and cooking together, and it improves your relationships. And I hear all the time the Whole30 is about food, but it's about so much more than food, and the benefits can spill over into every area of your life.
Definitely. Yeah. You're going to have more energy and especially and more time. Like if it, like we said, if you're not going out to the clubs and spending 3 or 4 or 5 hours, what do you do with that 5 hours? Now you could be more productive. Maybe you can have more
Exactly.
energy for go for a walk, exercise, or just go to bed and then wake up early and start the day earlier.